Hey there, and welcome back to the Complicated Kids podcast. I'm your host, Gabriele Nicolet, and today we are talking to Jason de la Valle. Jason is a youth personal trainer and nutrition coach with a specialty in special needs, and I am very excited to talk to him. Jason, welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
Okay, what do all these words mean? I understand all the words, but what is it that you do with the children?
Okay, that's a great question. So first of all, I had a background in special needs before I started adaptive movement. So I switched gears and launched into the whole fitness industry, started working with kids right away. So I do private one-on-one and small group workouts for kids.
And what age do you mostly work with?
So I've experienced working with some of the younger guys, but as we've been moving along, I've been raising the ages a little bit. So we're looking at 10 to 12 years old on the younger side, and then teenagers and adolescents.
Okay. And do all the kids you work with have a diagnosis of some kind or not? Like, what's the mix there?
Yeah, exactly. It's a mixture, there are a lot of kids with autism, but also a lot of kids that they're just kind of anxious, they're stressed out, they're picky eaters, and a lot of them are non-athletes in general, so they have a hard time fitting in with all the typical team sports. And especially as they get older, the sports world just gets more competitive, and they're not always so competitive. They're not always so like cutthroat, so it's a place where they can belong. It's more welcoming, it's more inclusive, and everyone is on their own journey, so I'm their trainer, I'm their coach. They can level up, but it doesn't always have to be a competition.
That's super interesting. Are there kids who, this is a conversation that comes up a lot in our groups, which is like some kids really like competition and that motivates them, and some kids really don't. And so I'm curious, like, how you navigate, not only how you navigate that, like with individual kids, because I want to hear about that too, but like in a group situation, if you've got like one who's motivated by competition, but the other one who isn't, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. That does come up all the time. So especially in our small group settings here, in our small group classes, we go with up to 4 kids maximum. So it's like a small training squad or a training team.
Okay.
So we all know each other. It's, it's like huddling up all together, group of guys get together, have fun. And the way we handle the competition and that motivation is with movement mini games. So we play these mini games. Some of them you already know, like freeze tag. Some of them I've made up myself, but we do, well, let me ask you, you may or may not be familiar, but for example, sometimes I compare it to Mario Party. You ever heard of that video game called Mario Party?
I have not, but the listeners will have, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Not to be confused with Mario Kart, but for example, Mario Party is kind of funny because it's like a video game that actually works like a board game. You move around on the board, and you're playing against these other players here. But the point is that you have these mini games, and it could be a free for all game, or it could be me versus all the kids. It could be 3 versus 1 or 2 versus 2. And that's how we have the competitions, right? So it's not so stressful. It's not like, oh my God, this is game day. Like, oh, I better get serious now. Or like, it's all on the line, but we have, friendly competition. We keep it short. We switch it up, different games. Sometimes they're more competitive with winners and losers. And sometimes, everyone's all on the same team. So it's a co-op game, a cooperative game as well, right? We could all be winning. We could all be working together, like racing against the clock, for example.
I can see so many ways in which you are, like, the thought I was thinking as you were talking was, this is so much better than a social skills group because it's embedded, like all of the frustration tolerance, accommodating someone else's needs, transitioning, cooperation and competition. It's all like super baked in, it sounds like, to what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. It's got the social skills there. There's movement as well. So it's fun. You're playing around, so you're learning to compete. You're learning how to win, learning how to lose, and work together as a team on certain tasks. So, sometimes you need to communicate with the rest of the team, and you got to be flexible. There are all these social skills that are built into the program.
And so when kids don't have the skill, because I imagine like you're obviously tailoring the games to their level, but obviously sometimes there's going to be times when there are skills missing or somebody can't kind of hang. What's your approach to that situation where like we've got a mismatch here between what I'm asking them to do and what they're able to do right now?
Right. So first thing is that I actually tailor fit and craft every session plan based on who is going to be there that day.
Wow.
That's the first thing, right? Versus every time you go out to a yoga studio or you go to sports practice or whatever, a martial arts practice session or anything like that, they've got the curriculum, like today, this is what we're working on. And, you're welcome to show up and they're going to help you as best as they can. But the difference is that I'm tailor fitting the lesson plan based on the participants. So sometimes, okay, there's 2 kids working together today. We're going to do some partner drills. There's 3 kids today. Maybe we could do a little freeze tag game. There's 4 kids today. We could try creating an obstacle course. So that's the first thing is I tailor fit it. And then we also start out with the kids. I meet them one-on-one to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's an introduction here and a connection that's made before just throwing him into the group and hoping for the best. Like, I don't know, deal with it. Like, oh, sorry, you don't know what that means. You don't know how to do that. Because that really makes the kids feel more anxious and more isolated, right? You're using these terms and it's like the kid's going to sit there and think like, well, everybody else knows what they're doing, but I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I start out one-on-one with everybody and then put them in the group knowing ahead of time, oh, you'd be a good fit with these guys and I'm going to support you and get you to transition here. And so I will introduce the curriculum and the movements and the games that we're playing. So they're not thrown too many new things at once, which can create stress and anxiety. So that way the coach is not new. You've met me before. The location is not new. You've been here before. This game is not new. You've played it before, but this time we're all just going to play it together.
I have goosebumps. Okay. I want to point out the meta behind what you just said, which is you're dealing with kids who have some amount usually of anxiety in addition to whatever primary diagnosis is happening. This is true of many orchid kids. They are anxious because they lack skill. They lack flexibility because they can see one way through the world. And there's lots of different reasons for that. But if that way is blocked, they're like, I don't know what to do now. Which means that novelty is offensive and scary. So what I hear you saying is we're stripping away novelty systematically in the one-on-one meeting, and then we're adding novelty systematically in the groups. I think that is, I just really want the folks listening to understand like how rigorous a process that is, because it's actually super impressive.
Thank you for pointing that out. It's something like sometimes I call it fading. You're like fading these things in and out, like when you fade the volume up and down. Some kids need more challenge. They're like, oh, give me something hard. Like, oh, they're kind of like a know-it-all type of kid. And other times they're just like so anxious, like, I don't know anything. I'm so like, I don't know what to do. And so you got to be able to dial it up and dial it down.
Yeah. And so what that reminds me of is this notion of the just right challenge, right? Where's the just right challenge for this kid today? And we know also, this came up in another recent interview, performance inconsistency is a thing, right? So like you could do this game last week, but maybe today you're not able to do this game. And it sounds like you're accommodating for that as well.
Yeah, exactly. There are versions of the games that we play that adjust the difficulty as well.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. So, you know, how much help do I give? Are there consequences? Like, is there something that's on the line here? Like if you win or you lose, or it's no big deal this time. This is just like, we're just going to use this little mini game to warm up so we get moving around and having fun together? Or is it like more serious? You know, maybe you have more energy and you're ready to take on more of a new challenge, or, hey, you know, I had a tough day at school, or I didn't sleep so great last night. And we say, oh, okay, well, you know, gotcha. Here's what we're going to do instead.
Yeah. It's so cool. Okay. Walk me through, like, how do parents find you? Like how do people know that they're supposed to come see you?
Yes, well, exactly. That's the number one thing. You know, a lot of parents are looking for something like this, but the challenge is they don't always know that that's even an option, you know? So just spreading the word primarily with the parents and also other professionals like you help to get the word out, because they don't realize that there's another option for health and fitness. Especially what I'm doing is more holistic, you know, a whole approach with the kids, helping them socially, helping them physically, also helping them outside of the sessions, getting them to sleep better, eat better, you know, be more flexible and whatnot. You know, it's the whole 9 yards compared to like, hey, I'm signed up for 6 months of basketball and that's just it, you know?
Yeah.
So getting the word out is huge. And, you know, then they also get to start out, they get a free intro workout. So they don't have any stress about just trying it out. We make sure that it's a good fit before, you know, you move forward in the program.
This is super interesting. And by the way, for anybody listening, you are in the Washington, D.C. area. Yes.
Yep. Washington, D.C. area and Falls Church, Virginia.
Perfect. Okay. So just so we're locating it, because this is an in-person, at this point anyway, an in-person service. You sit at a really interesting position between like sports programs and occupational and physical therapy. Would you say that that's true?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bridge.
Yep.
Between those, right? Because a lot of the kids are doing OT and PT and, you know, those types of therapies. And then you can't do therapy forever, right? You eventually get discharged. You know, you've had a course of treatment here. You've been meeting your goals. Like, wow, we're so proud of you. Look at all this progress you've made. We're going to discharge you. And then what, right? They need somebody to like hand you off to so you can keep moving forward here, right? So you don't want to just be like thrown off the deep end and left in the wind. You know, there's nothing except, you know, except those more cutthroat competitive sports programs or whatever it is. So it's a bridge in between those worlds where I create the program tailored to you. I create each program from scratch to match whatever that kid needs as an individual.
The kids are, you said on the lower end, they're 10. Are you needing buy-in from them in order to participate? And how do you navigate that between like what parent wants and what kid might want?
So to get their buy-in, that's really what it's all about, is making fitness fun for kids, right? So because I'm able to do that, the kids buy in and then they want to keep going. Because otherwise, if the kids don't want to do it, you know, the parents don't sign them up for personal training and workouts and stuff like that if they're too resistant to it, you know, and you're not locked in. That's the other thing. It's more flexible, right? So it's not like, oh, we got another 5 months left and I'm sorry, you're going to have to go. Because also that just creates more resentment, right? Like if your parents have ever signed you up for something that you didn't want to do, which has happened to me, And man, it's really difficult. And then you become bitter, it becomes a negative experience. So this is the total opposite. This is a positive, fun experience, right? So what I did here to make fitness fun for kids is I created the live action fitness role-playing game. So
say more.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a movement-based role-playing game for kids. It's a kind of health and fitness Dungeons and Dragons, if you know how that game works. So it's a ton of fun. It's for anyone who doesn't know, role-playing games involve making your own characters and teaming up, going on an adventure. So just like how you'd be playing make-believe as a kid, and also all the favorite video games that your kids are playing, they're playing as this little guy who's running around, going on some quest and some adventure, but also they're leveling up. They're on a journey, right? So this is the video game without the video game. So it's called live action fitness.
Oh my God. I can see why people of all ages on all of the sides of all of the relationship equations are going to love that.
Exactly. Everybody loves it. The parents love it, seeing their kids get involved, and the kids love it. They buy into it. They get to be creative and have a lot of fun. They level up, and it just focuses on three main things, which is helping kids love movement, helping kids connect socially, and helping kids take initiative. It's the other thing you learn here, which is sort of related to social skills, but a little bit different. You're another professional who's working with these kids. So what you'd call executive functioning, where kids need help planning, staying organized, and getting things done, is how I like to put it. Yeah. So nothing helps these kids get things done and plan things out like putting them into some sort of scenario. Right? You have to figure it out. It's like a puzzle, like what would I do if I was in a certain scenario? I got to think my way through this. I got to work together as a team. We're facing some sort of problem. Oh my God, guys, what are we going to do? Okay. But it's all like a fun, health and fitness adventure.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to go meta on you again because this is amazing.
Please.
So what you're doing, this is all what neuroscience and child development research is telling us, which is we learn best through play.
Right.
You have found a manner of play that is both narrow enough and broad enough for the people that you are teaching, right? For the kids that you're serving. And you're now in that scenario where they are happy and bathed in all of the yummy neurohormones that we want them to be bathed with. Now they're doing the problem-solving piece. So they're not doing the problem-solving piece when they're confronted with a piece of homework that they have no hope of completing and they don't like. What you've done is like opened up this container and been like, come on in, you can do whatever you want. And now you're like leading them through the skills that they're going to need in the outside world. Is that going to be a direct translation? Probably not. But they're practicing those skills in a neurological state where they're going to be able to retain them. That's like very exciting to me, as you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect, for anyone who's, I'm combining it with movement, but also these role-playing games. They're very powerful tools. Parents can play them with their kids. There are after-school programs that do this, and occupational therapists could do this. Like you're saying, you need to learn how to play. And also it actually grows with you. It becomes more advanced as you get older. It gets even better, right? Because sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want my kid to be playing like, they're not like a 3-year-old. They're not like a 5-year-old, like, where they're just like playing with dolls or something. It seems kind of childish. It's the exact opposite. It's exactly what you want your kids to be doing. And it gets better as they get older and they become an adolescent, and they can think more abstractly, and they can put themselves in someone else's shoes, which is another key skill to teach these kids that translates into real life. Like, what am I going to do? Because also you're putting yourself into the scenario as the character, right? What would I do? And then also you need to figure out, what are they doing, right? What's going on from the other person's perspective. So it becomes more abstract and more in-depth as you go from, kind of like preteen to teen.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And also it strikes me the depersonalization. In other words, if I'm assuming a character and you're assuming a character, now we both have the benefit of the doubt because it's not about you versus me. It's these two external kinds of beings that we've created. It's such an interesting hack in some ways, right?
It's
like a neat workaround.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's great. So, it's like you mentioned this, like kind of like a safe place where you can play, right? Sometimes we call it the sandbox.
Yeah.
Right. So you're in the sandbox here. Now that just means you have like a zone where you could play around in.
Yeah.
And, so you're not going to get hurt. You're just practicing. You may succeed, you may fail. Okay. But it's not like a real life and death scenario. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you just like, it takes the edge off, which allows them to open up their minds and be receptive to the lessons that you're giving them and the consequences. So they're learning what consequences mean from their choices because they get to make choices as their character, right? I present this, a little dilemma here. What are you going to do? Are you going to, you reach a fork in the road? Do you go left or do you go right? There are going to be consequences, but it's really up to you what you do. And we're going to act it out. You're going to see what the consequences are. You'll get used to that. You'll learn how to make decisions and not take it personally. And it really helps you open things up, especially people get very defensive, like if you just try to tell kids what to do, especially, parents know that that's really hard. The other thing is I come in there as the coach and the trainer and I'm running the session. I'm running live action fitness. So just like you said, it's depersonalized, right? Because think about how many parents are out there. It's like, man, my kid just won't do what I say or listen to me, right? It's the messenger.
Yep.
Okay. And so you do get the message through by changing the messenger.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to tell us like a quick story, like give us a quick success story.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. I've got a few here that come to mind, so some kids, thinking of one in particular, who really played lots of video games, was socially stuck, refused to play any team sports, refused to really participate in PE. They've had negative experiences, like getting picked last in dodgeball and so on. Nobody wants to be the like slow kid on the playground. Right. And then they open up because they see it's like a Dungeons and Dragons health and fitness game. Right. So just like, how Hogwarts was the kind of wizard school for Harry Potter. So what I created here is the Bard's College Adventure Academy. So we invite them in to the academy. Okay. You're an adventurer. You're the main character. You are the hero. Okay. So first we build up your character. So who does he want to be? That's the other thing. It wraps into your identity. Right. So I talk to this kid. It's like, well, who do you want to be? Right. Wow. Imagine it's not someone who's like weak and anxious and really stuck in this, it's
that
someone
is so, okay,
strong.
Wait. It's like VR without the VR. It's like,
yes,
I mean, it's what you said before. It's like screens without the screen. It's video games without the video. It's okay. Wow. Keep going.
Exactly. And so it'd be fun too, maybe another day we'll get to do like a demonstration and show you, we can really live out the experience, to really capture the magic here. Yeah. So who does he want to become? This is your new identity. Okay. It's a warrior, right? It's he chose to be a dragonborn, which is kind of like a half dragon, half man. Okay. Right. So he's like extremely strong, like physically powerful. And what I had him do was select his image, right? So get your image, find something online, send it to me. I create his profile. I upload the image onto the profile. We create his stats, right? So it's really straightforward and simple between, like a warrior who uses their body, their strength, the rogue, which is another word for spy, basically, who uses their mind, and the mage, which means magic user, like a wizard or a sorcerer of some kind who uses magic, and you just put them in the order of your choice. So now everyone is a combination, you just see like, who do you want to be, right? So he was a warrior. Okay. Now we got him moving and he hits these targets. So also while he's moving along, I created personal fitness targets for him, right? Okay. So starting with a plank on the knees. Okay. Easier version of a plank. He hits that target. He gets a gold coin that goes in his bank account. Okay. Which he gets to use in the adventures. You need these gold coins. You need money. Okay. So that's, something he'll be using. He saves it up and he can use it as he wishes, right? Which is another way of planning and making choices, is learning how to use money, which is very important.
Oh my God. Okay, wait, pause. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not your average sticker chart. Okay. And
no.
Here's why. Because some folks are going to listen to this and be like, so I just need to reward my kid for doing physical exercise with a token of some kind. No. Okay. This is an alternate reality. Reality seems like a weird word, but this is an alternate system in which the rules of everyday life that have been traumatic, exclusionary, painful are removed. And the child is allowed to step inside an environment that they get to co-create with you, that is free from all of that. And now they are free to try new things, fail, and succeed. And that's why the gold coin and the money that you need in order to make these, I love this, like good and, financial decisions that don't actually matter, are so important. Like it is, I'm like jumping out of my skin here, Jason.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
It's big.
Yeah, exactly. And then later, that's one of my favorite topics, is how the gold coins work and the tokens. And so we can get into like how you use them, but they are valuable, right? It's about value, right? It's a token of value and reciprocity, right? So that means the money is going back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're exchanging it back and forth. Okay. So you're getting gold, you're losing gold. It's being awarded for your work, right? There's proof of work. You don't just get them for free. You can get them and use them, save them. It's a whole nother, it's a big topic. We could do a whole podcast on that. Yeah. But the key is that the kids intuitively know they want the coins. Yeah. And it is valuable because of what they can do with them.
Yeah.
Right. So exactly. It's not just like a sticker that goes on the board and is meaningless.
Yeah.
So they have a bank account there. So we get him going. He started out. This is also where it gets cool with his success story with his fitness and opening up socially. Right. So then he's able to communicate about who he is, what he wants. So what kind of, well, let me back up. Let me finish what I was doing before. So he started out with a plank on the knees, okay, doing the high plank. Then he goes to the low plank on the elbows, which is a little bit harder, hits that target, gets the reward. This gets tracked on his profile. So he sees online, he sees a growing list of achievements. Boom, 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 boom. Stacking up, right? Look at that. An undeniable track record of success that he sees, I see, his mom sees it, we all see it, we're all proud, and it's stacking and growing and growing and growing as you go. So you have a kind of momentum here as you are undeniably leveling up. So that goes back to, finding the right challenge level that just fit, just right fit.
Yeah.
So then, you know, we have them doing the full plank, right? Like on the toes, like the full push-up position. Then you're down on the elbows. Okay. Then again, now we go back to the knees. We're doing push-ups. Okay. Now he's done push-ups. He's done 10 push-ups on the knees, 15 push-ups on the knees, 20, 30. Then he goes to the full regular push-ups. Now I think he's up to like 2 sets of 10 doing regular full push-ups. Now, this kid originally, you know, was stuck, couldn't really do like that plank, right? So there's a progression.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a clear sign of progress as you're moving forward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my God. Okay. If people want to learn more about you, because I could sit here and be excited for a long time to come, but we're going to wrap this up. How do they get a hold of you?
Sure. Best place to get a hold of me is at adaptivemovement.live. That is my website. You can go there. You can book a free workout. You can get in touch. So we'll chat and just make a game plan. So I hear about, you know, who your kid is, what are their struggles, and you know, what is the dream outcome that you want, right? That's the hard part as well. Parents often don't know like what is possible. They just know they want some help. They want their kid to do better. They see that their kid is struggling. So we're going to define what you want to see, and then we're going to make that happen. And it all starts at adaptivemovement.live.
Awesome. Oh, this was fun, Jason. Thank you for taking the time to come talk to me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And maybe sometime we'll also get a little demo game in. We'll try it out.
I have a feeling we're going to do that. Yeah, that'll be fun.